This is the Atari 2600, or VCS, Video Computer System, which it kindly reminds us of right there. And 33 years after being made, this thing is still awesome, and it's still working. I doubt there'll be any Xbox 360s around in 33 years' time, but this thing will probably still be there. It seems rather fitting actually with my 1970s stereo system there. They have the exact same wood grain pattern. I like that stuff. I was going to do my computer out with it, but there's such a great library of games. I mean, you've got Donkey Kong, which everybody remembers. You've got Space Invaders, and who could forget that? Pitfall, Spitfall. My brother did that. What an imbecile. And then you have Midnight Magic, things like that. I don't know, does anybody remember that? That one's cool. Tell me if you remember it, or maybe I'll do a video about it. And then you've got some really crap games. I'm not even going there. And then you've got games that nobody remembers. Desert Falcon for the Atari 2600 is a game that I've never even heard anybody mention, and I've only ever seen one review of this game, and it wasn't good. So now it's my turn to put across my opinions on it. I mean, obviously these things are opinions, so you're not going to have to agree with them. The cartridge is kind of weird. It doesn't like being inserted into the Atari. You really have to force it in there. And luckily this thing's got about a centimetre of steel inside, so there's no way you're ever going to break it. But that's still kind of strange, and some idiot wrecked the label. But I think it's worthless anyway. You can probably pick it up for about $5 on eBay nowadays, if that. So yeah, let's fire it up and see what it's like. 1987, and it starts with a title screen. Most games do that. And then, like most Atari games, you flick reset to start the game, and you have an isometric viewpoint going on, which is pretty rare for Atari games. It doesn't look too bad as far as the 2600 goes. There is a 7800 version, which looks a lot better. It's kind of hard to tell where you are in this. Basically run on the rule that if you touch anything, you'll die. The manual, if you can get that, will tell you what the enemies are. You crash into something, you die, see what I mean? Them three symbols at the bottom, you collect those, you collect the right combination, you get a power up. Everything else is just points, really. So yeah, that's, you know, you fly along, you shoot at things for points, and that's basically how the levels work. You know, there's not tons and tons to say about it. You can swim in the water if you want to. There's no need for it whatsoever. And at the end of each level, you will fight a Sphinx. This thing used to give me nightmares when I was a kid, and when you look at it, there's absolutely no wonder. Once you've managed to beat the crap out of it by shooting in a very specific spot, the game sends you to a little bonus level that moves quickly and disagrees with my capture hardware. There's no point to this other than, well, points, but points don't really mean anything at home. It's kind of good to get them, but there's no way of keeping score other than writing it down. It's typical for most games, so you can't really have a go at it for that. And then the game gives you a seizure, and you go on to level 2. By now you're probably playing it in the back of the ambulance, if you suffer from, like, epilepsy at all. But they probably print the warning in the manual. Each level's just a colour variation. There's more obstacles, more flying turds or whatever they are, and it's pretty much the same story. I mean, it's an arcade game. That's how arcade games work, and that's actually one of the strongest points about these games. It's not something you should have a go at them for. You know, the Atari basically won its generation because the controller is a stick and a button, and everybody knows how to use that. You move the stick which way you want to move, and you press the button and it'll either jump or fire. In the case of this game, it fires. And, you know, so I don't understand people's problem with this game. I mean, you know, basically you're just having a go for the sake of having a go, and I don't think this game deserves as much crap as it gets. It has its flaws, but it's an old game, and it's an arcade game nonetheless, so arcade games are always rip-offs anyway. But this thing's so cheap now, If you have an Atari, I recommend grabbing it, but the 7800 version is much better. Yes, sir, that was Desert Falcon for the Atari 2600. A very simple game, you know, one of the Atari's strengths, like I said, sticking a button. Everybody knows how to use an Atari, even if they've never seen one before. There's no way you can get it wrong. You know, that if you didn't hear the music in this game, it is absolutely bloody brilliant as far as Atari games go. You know, even if you think the game sucks, you've got to like the music that happens in it. So yeah, it's a simple game. It's like a fun game as well. Like, you know, there's not much to it. It's like most arcade games. You press a button to shoot stuff, you can try and get a load of points. There's nothing too complex. And I still don't understand why the few people that I've come across that know about this game give it such, like, a load of crap, basically. It's like, well, what the hell's wrong with it? If you're going to have a go at a game, have a go at Star Wars. That cost me £8. And the cartridge is wreck. And it sucks. You just sold it on the name. Have a go at that. And that's full of problems. I mean, they're arcade games. Arcade games we're always designed to win unfairly. That's the point of an arcade game. So you put more quarters in the machine, or whatever currency you're on. We wouldn't put quarters in round here. You'd probably put a pound coin in, but you know, it probably makes no bloody difference as far as I know. I don't know much about arcade machines because I don't like them. But you know, like I say, why give the game a tough time? It's typical of an arcade game. You ignore all the good things. You know, they've ignored the music. They've ignored, like, the ease of play. It's not hard to play the game, and it's just fun to go around shooting stuff and having nightmares about pixelated sphinxes. I don't get it. I'm real tempted to actually just make a point of it and, like, get Zelda for the NES, which is a game that I really dislike. And this is, you know, I said before, opinions, you don't have to agree with them, and you probably won't agree with this, but, you know, I'm tempted to make a video about that and just find all the little problems, and they're probably really small problems, as is the case with this game. And this game's really old, you know, 1987, it's on the Atari, and it was developed on a budget, I expect, so what do you expect from it, you know? I mean, it's not a brilliant game, this, but it's not bad. It's just decent. It's just quick and fun. But, like, Zelda, like I said, I could sit there and find all the little flaws. Oh, yeah, you can go through the wall here. The whole game spazzes out. This game's awful as a result. Yeah, screw the epic storyline and the music that's supposedly good. I think it's some of his worst music ever because it's just dull and repetitive and flat. But, you know, well, I could probably actually put that in and just say it was awful. Maybe people would believe me if they'd never played the game. I don't know. So give this a shot anyway. I mean, by all means, use an emulator if you don't have an Atari. It doesn't matter at this point, I suppose. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the game. I'm High Treason. I'll see you later. Don't know what's coming next, so you'll just have to wait and find out, I suppose.